Decisions aren't easy. The second half of the word decision means to cut, the same as incision. To make a decision is to cut away options, to cut away possibilities. It can leave you wondering what could have been. Where would you be if you had made a different decision? I think this is something we forget about a lot of the time, the difficulty that comes with decisions. A mistake I used to make is that I would look at all of my options, seemingly limitless, and I'd be overwhelmed. I'd panic, and I wouldn't make any decisions at all. I wrongly thought that if I didn't make a decision, it couldn't be the wrong one. Many times in last week's video, as substantial evidence of this, I'd feel called out of my comfort zone, away from the computer on which I did nothing but watch Netflix and YouTube, to do something that fascinated or excited me. That feeling seemed to come out of nowhere, unconnected to anything logical. Some part of me knew that I didn't want to be sitting in my room doing nothing but consume. I now see that little voice as my little mentor, trying to speak to me behind the veil that is my eyes, pulling any strings it can to do what only he and I know is best for us. I mentioned in my first video that our mentors scream at the top of their lungs to try and get our attention, and that we don't listen. I'd like to make a small revision to that, saying that we hear them, but we just don't understand them. They speak a different language to ours. My mentor speaks one language: feelings. We can't help but feel our feelings, that's what they're there for. But often we ignore our feelings, or bury them, hide sadness as anger and indignation. A lot of times we quiet these feelings because they don't make sense to us. Feelings look illogical, but that doesn't make them unimportant. In fact, I think it does the opposite. I remember when I was introduced to parkour training. Not parkour, but parkour training. Grueling, painful, physical, exhaustive exercises. Some of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I remember this one particular exercise called heart attacks. You set a timer for 3 minutes, and in 30-second intervals, you do a calisthenic repetitive exercise. Push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, etc. And then, at the end of the 30 seconds, you sprint to the next spot, and you continue doing that for 3 minutes. There were tons of exercises like these. And at an event, we do hours of this shit. By all intents and purposes, I should have hated every second of it. And it's true that I wasn't a big fan of the muscle fatigue and the pain, but at the end of the day, I'd look back and see the amazing endorphin rush and the community. I'd see only the good things, not the blood, sweat, and tears. In fact, the next day when my muscles would ache so badly, I would smile and be glad because I knew next time I would feel better after my muscles healed. Logic would deem me insane for looking forward to this stuff, but I did. My feelings told me this was important and good for me, to be surrounded by like-minded people and to be getting stronger. Just for a second, I want to talk about breaking your homeostasis. Our bodies and brains like regularity, and they don't like it when we do heart attacks for 3 minutes straight. Let me give you a quick example. My body will do what my brain tells it to do. So when I dangle from this tree, my brain is sending signals through my nerve endings to my sarcoplasmic reticulum in my grip muscles, releasing calcium ions, engaging my muscles. Now my hands are used to holding up bags of groceries and writing, but they're not used to holding up a 160-pound man with full force of gravity. My brain is forcing my grip to do more than it's physically capable of doing. This causes tiny tears in the muscle fibers themselves. It's really painful, and I really want to let go now, but my brain is telling my grip to keep on holding. We have successfully broken homeostasis. Your body isn't happy about this, so when it's healing itself, it overcompensates. Instead of making the muscles the same as they were when we tore them, they make them stronger, more resilient. When we force ourselves out of our homeostasis, out of our comfort zone, our bodies and brains don't conspire against us to keep us from doing it again. Instead, they make our comfort zone bigger so we don't have to. Not all feelings are about logic. If they were, I wouldn't see a parkour chase scene and be compelled to try it. And I wouldn't feel eager anticipation going to do heart attacks with my friends. But my mentor knew it was what we needed. So he made us feel a positive emotion, excitement, elation, happiness. Conversely, when I'm sitting still, stuck, stagnant, my mentor communicates our discontent by having me feel a negative emotion. So-and-so called me a name, this person overstepped their bounds. These things are valid and deserve addressing, but they're probably not the mentor talking. Your mentor can supply those feelings that you don't know where they come from, the ones that come from God knows where and fuck shit up. When we experience them, we think, why am I feeling this way? And then we excavate and we find out and we realize that doesn't make any sense and we discard them, but that is exactly when we need to be paying attention. Learning to understand what your mentor is saying is difficult, but it will help your mentor feel listened to. There are methods upon methods of excavating your feelings to help you listen to your mentor. Therapy, meditation, biking, running, morning walks, but something that has helped me is writing. More specifically, speed writing. Longhand, early in the morning, for 3 pages. Julia Cameron calls these morning pages in her wonderful book, The Artist's Way. Writing fast doesn't give your brain any time to get between your hand and the paper. And for anyone thinking of trying out morning pages, she has a few tips. Firstly, there's no wrong way to do morning pages. It's just a stream of consciousness for 3 pages. Secondly, don't reread your morning pages for quite some time. Some of the thoughts that spill out need to sit on the page for quite a while before they can be of use to anyone. Besides, a lot of them can be nasty. Which brings us to her third point. Don't let anyone else read the morning pages. These are for your eyes only. Lastly, you should be warned that eventually you'll meet a mean and bitter voice that says only mean and bitter things. Julia Cameron calls this voice your critic, and it doesn't care about you. It doesn't say these mean things to motivate you to change. It says them to keep you in your comfort zone. It's a formidable foe and an asshole. In time, you'll learn your own ways to evade his hurtful remarks, but until then, know this, that he doesn't know what he's talking about. He'll say anything he can to keep you cornered in your comfort zone. Excavating your feelings and listening to your mentor can be an incredibly helpful exercise. If you're upset and you don't know why, an excavation might shed some light. It might help you make a difficult decision. And listening to your feelings might help you get out of your comfort zone into somewhere more exciting. If not morning pages, I suggest you find some way of listening to your feelings. They're one of the best guides we have. I think you'll be surprised what you might find. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. That just looks like me staring off. I'm thinking about a bunch of different things. Okay, here we go.